How many of you did your homework last night, the frequently asked questions? All right. So most of you, that's good. How was it? Was it fun? Was it enlightening? Did you end up having dinner with the person? Yes. Well, I hope that most of you did it, or at least that you have an idea what the frequently asked questions are for your business, because we're going to be using some of that today in the copy. And you obviously need to know what's going on in your target's head the entire time, and so you'll want to keep that in mind. So what we're going to work on today, we are, like John said, we're running a bit behind, but it's okay because we're going to make up for it in the morning. We're going to do our opening this morning. And so when you were talking to somebody, your partner last night, you were telling the story of your business. So what I want to focus on today is to write a brief paragraph, a brief story about your business. And we're not going to do that yet, but in a minute. And it's going to be like probably just a paragraph, a very succinct, short story about why it is that you went into business. Why did you choose the field that you're in? So that's what we're going to get to. But first, let's take a run down memory lane and talk about what we're going to be on page 53 when we get to this, to the hook. All right, this again, the sales copy wheel. You remember, copy is in all of your marketing. It's critical in all of your marketing. It's when you drive traffic to your sales letter, it's critical in opting in. It's critical in your order page, follow-up, and testing and improving. Where did my clicker guy go?
No, you just push the button for now.
I do? All right. And this is the speed copywriting diagram, and you actually have a laminated sheet of this to remind you, when you're looking at a blank piece of paper, to chunk it up. You do the features and benefits first. You do the frequently asked questions, and you're going to create the bullets from those nuggets of information. That's what you do first. That's all the raw material of your copy. Then next, you're going to get into testimonials, offer, guaranteed, the bonuses, and the postscript. The stage 2 is what do they get for their money? And then stage 3, which is what we're going to focus on today, are headlines, subheads, creating your opening, and stories. Now, we did not cover testimonials. There is a great template in your binder, and I'm just going to refer you back to that. It's very self-explanatory, so we can focus on the actual writing of stuff. We worked on mind mapping. We had a terrific example with Christina helping out, and Savi's pillows. Write down your central idea, brainstorm, look for relationships. The frequently asked questions, which we worked on last night, are overcoming objections before they think of them, building trust because you have nothing to hide, and it's a good place to outshine the competition, the who, what, why, when, where. Bullets you can use blind bullets, which is something with information, something that's a tease. Information, tease. It's very effective because it builds trust. Using your formatting effectively, you're going to add formatting after you're done with the copy. You don't worry about it yet. But however you change the text of the word, however you add bold or italics or parentheses, all that makes a difference on the kind of response you're going to get. And you're not going to know until you test it or you tweak it. This is where the pretty part of your copy comes in. And that's why it's at the end. It's like the cherry on top. Parentheses is a way to de-emphasize, even though in real language in real copy it emphasizes it. But truly, it was created to de-emphasize something. It does the exact opposite. Add a page number, make it tangible, use shocking statistics. People like information, even in sales letters. So anytime you can give them that, you're going to build more trust and build more credibility. And testimonials, this is what we skipped over. I'll tell you real quick what is 3 qualities that are really good for a testimonial is one of the ones that I do a lot of is a well-known celebrities. I have a celebrity clientele. I have Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, Stephen Pierce, Tom Antion. So I leverage that. That's what I've got, and it's easy because I know them. I just say, hey, can I have a testimonial? And they do it. Results-oriented testimonials, what kind of action, what kind of benefits did they get at the end of the day? These are harder to get. You got to chase your person down. And even when you chase them down, they're not going to necessarily tell you right away, not because they don't want to, but they just don't think it's that important. And to get actual facts and figures, it takes probably a few phone calls. So what I would recommend, I think, pretty much what John Carlton was recommending was like make an appointment on the phone, talk to them and tell them, you want to find out, how are you doing with that? How's that working for you? Really? Well, specifically, how much more money did you make, if you don't mind sharing? You want to give a percentage? You don't feel comfortable with a figure? That's fine. Well, how else did your business improve? Those kinds of things. And I want to recommend a resource that since we didn't cover testimonials deeply yesterday, Ann Convery. How many of you know Ann? Oh my goodness, a lot of you do. AnnConvery.com, ANNCONVERY.com. She has a business called Speak Your Business in 30 Seconds or Less, and she has a terrific free report on testimonials, no strings attached. It's fantastic. And the template that's in your binder about testimonials, I got her permission to reprint just a little snippet of it. So it's based on Ann's testimonial template. So I recommend looking at she helps you create a script, and she helps you get the actual meat of the testimonial that you want. And about specific improvements. The more specific you can be, the more real it sounds. You want to talk about how their life was before and how it is after, how much it improved and because of you. The offer, we talked about some ways to get people to get off their butts and order. Create a limit on the time the offer is available. I meant to tell you my little Dan Kennedy story about offer, where I used several of these. Limit the number of products available for sale. Paint the picture of pain without your product. Contrast how happy they will be when they own your product. And take the risk off by offering a strong guarantee. What I did was, when I went to Dan Kennedy's boot camp a year and a half ago, it's a $10,000 ticket to be in there. There was only 13 people in the room. And I took notes because there was a contest. Whoever took the best notes would win a free critique by Dan. So I wanted to win, and I took amazing notes, like every single word he said. I filled up a steno pad front and back over 3 days. I typed the notes up on site, and I gave them to him, hoping that I was going to win the contest. And what he did was he went around the room, and he just let people vote. Nobody saw anyone else's notes. But he's like, okay, who do you think should win? John, Paul, Ron, Lorrie, and I came in second. So I was bummed. But what I did do was I said, hey, Dan, can I sell these notes? And he said he actually liked the entrepreneurial spirit, and he said, you know what, yeah, you can, but you can sell them for 1 week, and then you have to take them off the market forever. I sold them. I made like $5,000 in less than a week because it was a time limit, and it was scarcity. You wouldn't be able to get it ever again. Now, I do give those away as bonuses, and I'm allowed to do that, but I can't sell them again. So there are ways to kind of get around things. But it was a fun story. Guarantees, bonuses, and the PS. The guarantees take the risk off of the buyer. Bonuses add more value. And PSs are the second most highly read piece of the copy. New stuff. All right, so let's talk about headlines. I mean, obviously, the most important part of your copy. It's the easiest thing to change. It's the easiest thing to test, and it gets the attention better than anything else that's going to be in your copy. A lot of times, people will spend as much or more time on the headline than they will on writing the actual copy, and it's not uncommon. All right. Some of the checklists on the headlines, is it in present tense? A lot of times people will say, you will get this result. And it's very simple just to say, get this result. It's a very subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference. So check and see, is it in the present tense? Does it have action words that get a reaction, whether they're positive or negative? This book that you guys have on your desks when you start writing your headlines, Words That Sell by Richard Bayan. I get nothing from this, but this book is awesome. It's a thesaurus for copywriters or for marketers. How many of you have this book? Yay. It's a great book. And Phrases That Sell, I haven't, the jury's still out on this one. I'm not sure how good it is. Does anyone have this one? Yeah? Do you like it?
It's not as good as the other one.
It's not as good as this. This is a great book. So there are words, power words in here that are very attention-getting, and phrases that you can use to stimulate your headlines. And also looking at other headlines. And you have a laminated sheet in your binder of motivational words. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm writing headlines or writing copy at all is just to read through the list of motivational words so you get into the mood, into the groove of what kinds of words really work. Because you don't necessarily use those, 50-cent words or whatever they are in your regular life. Like, this is amazing and all those kinds of, hypey words. But they, if well placed, they work well. Does it identify the target market? Doesn't have to, but remember the little trick I showed you where you can use a pre-head about who the target market is, like attention, speakers, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to, but it's an option. You just want to check and see if it does. Does it reveal a benefit? What are they going to get out of it? We know that we buy based on emotion, so if we know we're getting something out of the copy, we are going to be more tempted to keep reading. Does it summarize the copy below? Doesn't have to. There's lots of different tactics that you can use in headlines, but if it summarizes the copy below, if you took it off of the copy, does it still make sense? That's just a rule of thumb that works very well. Dan Kennedy, again, more Dan Kennedy stories, tells a story of a copywriter who went to the editor and handed the copy off and said that it was just waiting to be praised. And the editor said, this headline doesn't make sense. And the copywriter said, well, it will if you read the rest of the copy. And no one's going to read the rest of the copy. So your headline, it has to make sense. And if it summarizes what they're going to read, you're pretty sure that it's going to make sense. And does it entice the reader to keep reading? That's its job. If it's not doing that, then it's got a problem. And most of all, on a scale of 1 to 10, is it the best headline I can use? How you're going to know that is through testing, by writing a lot of headlines, by just spilling them all out there, and being honest with yourself, asking other people what their reaction is when they read your headlines. It's worth spending a lot of time on your headlines because it can make or break your entire copy experience. Oh, I love these. These are headline boo-boos. These are real headlines. Infertility, unlikely to be passed on. Astronaut takes blame for gas in spacecraft. That's mine. I'm sorry, I think farts are funny. I don't know why, but one of the highest read emails I had was a promo for this workshop was when the subject was dog farts. Did you guys see that one? I was literally typing up an email and my dog was just sending out these bombs. And I just couldn't think of anything else. So it was my subject line, and I got so many stories, people sharing about their parrots, their cats, their dogs. It was real, like what Wendy was saying yesterday, very connecting. It makes people think they know you. They get it. Kids make nutritious snacks. I've always thought so. Red tape puts up new bridge. Typhoon rips through cemetery, hundreds dead. Police begin campaign to run down jaywalkers. They probably work in Los Angeles, actually. Eye drops off shelf. Miners refuse to work after death. And this was, is there a ring of debris around Uranus? I can't even imagine how that one got by. I really can't. So make sure your headline doesn't have more than one meaning. All right. Now we're going to play Which Headline Wins. All right, so I want you to think about which one's going to win. We're not going to raise our hands or anything because I don't want to embarrass you if you're wrong. But headline number one, I want you to think of which one did better. Would it be number one, how to make your food taste better, or number two, how to get your cooking bragged about? Think about it. Think about it. Which one was the winner? It was number... Yes, number two. You guys are good. 42% more sample requests. Now, who knows why? Just shout it out. Why do you think this? The ego. It's exactly right. Exactly. That it's much more exciting to have people brag about you than it is just to have your food taste better. Number two, can you spot these 7 common decorating sins? And number two, to the woman who wants a career in interior design. This is kind of a tough one because it's got some of the same stuff going. One with 246% higher response. And yes, it was number one. Tell them what they've won. Okay, why?
Would you use number two as a subhead or a prehead?
You absolutely could. Why? Because it identifies the target market, right? Yeah, I like that. Why do you think number one did so much better, though? That's significant. That's right. No sins. You're so right. The sins. And which one are you making? And there's the list. It's got 7. So it has a lot going on. All right, number 3, tension headache, or when doctors have headaches, what do they do to? You guys are good, hands down. To. It's working. All right, so why? What's a doctor, though? Expert, exactly. Interesting enough, they do. Vicki says they don't know anything. But we think they do, and that's what's important. Funny enough, women tend to trust nurses more than a doctor. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was interesting. And men tend to trust a doctor. Go figure. Headline number 4. Now try this vitamin. Now try the vitamin of champions. Champions. It's a tie. There's absolutely no difference. I would have thought, that's why you have to test. I would have thought number 2 would have done better. And obviously it did all right because it did as well as number 1. Number 5, use these eye drops for bloodshot eyes, or how to give quick rest to tired eyes. 2? Yep. Why?
Quick.
It's quick. And
People might not want to admit they have bloodshot eyes for some reason or something. But
right?
Probably say tired eyes.
Oh, that's your bloodshot. You. Quick is this really is. This is from Gary Halbert's, his program, and he said that they literally polled the people as they bought the eye drops. He said, "Why are you buying those?" And they said, "Because my eyes are tired." And so they used the exact same words in the headline. So they were selling it back to them. That's something you can do too when you ask your customers specific questions. Send those words back to them because those are the things that they're resonating with. Number 6, women's sweater sale at below wholesale price, $19.99. Or would you buy a woman's $65 sweater for $19.99? This is another Gary Halbert one, and yeah, number 2, sold out his entire stock of sweaters in 2 days. And why would you say?
Deal.
It's a deal? Who said that? Deal. It's a bargain. It's a bargain. You could do the math. Exactly. That's it. It's a deal.
It puts you in the equation. It's like personalizing it to you.
That's a good point. Yes. That's really true. It's definitely talking one-on-one when you say, would you buy it?
Well, it shows you the value on the first one. Those sweaters could be worth $19.99.
Yeah, they could be worth $5. That's a great point, too. It's a comparison, contrasting comparison. Number 7, I never bought stocks before. How do I go about it? Or number 2, what do I own when I own a share of stock? Yeah, it's a tricky one. Right? I'll just tell you. It's number 1. I've never bought stocks before. How do I go about it? Why would you think? Why would that one be a little bit better? Yeah, it's how to. It's how to. It's very basic. You know exactly what you're getting if you're going to read this copy below it.
People are afraid when they give away their money like that, and they want to have the assurance that it's okay to be afraid of.
Yeah, they want to. Yeah,
It's okay not to know.
Yeah.
it's okay not to know. And say that again, Marcus.
Number 2, you have to read twice.
Yeah, it's a little unclear. That's a good point. Number 2 is,
It's not very exciting. Piece of the puzzle.
and it's boring.
Well, number 2 is only a piece of the puzzle. Number 1 will tell me the whole process.
So right. So number 2 is a piece of the puzzle, and well, yeah, it is. It's vague. It's vague, and also if you've never bought stock before, it's kind of embarrassing. Where do you go to find out that information? You don't want to look like an idiot, but if that's the headline, you're more likely to keep reading. All right. Yay! It washes me out. Yes. So thank you. All right. Hey, there's more. All right, headline number 8. It's up here too. Save 1 gallon of gas in every 10. Number 2, car owners save 1 gallon of gas in every 10. That's right, car owners. That identified the target market very clearly. Even though it's almost the same thing, isn't it? I mean, it's still compelling. I would love to save a gallon of gas in every 10, especially nowadays.
But I think it gets back to what Wendy was saying about the person we're connecting with, because just doing that, you are putting yourself there for a certain group.
Right. So you're connecting with that group. It's if you have a car, this is for you. Exactly. It kind of does identify everyone nowadays. It's like, I have a car. I'll read this. This is just for me. All right, headline number 9, hay fever or dry up hay fever. Number 2, right. 27% increase in requests because it's the benefit, right? 10, men's thick terry robes, $65. We first saw these in, who can say that word? I cannot say it. Crillon Hotel in the Place de la Cour in Paris. I have to practice my French. All right, ladies and gentlemen, which one? 2. Yes. Is it? Aw, how lovely. All right, so why? Ego, because it's like a classy place. You want the best stuff. Is that a shishi place?
Yeah.
Yes?
This reminds me of those JP.
Even if it wasn't, it sounds like it.
What is that, Marcus?
Even if it could be like a 2-star.
Yeah.
It could be a 2-star, exactly. It does sound good. Anything in French sounds good. The reason Gary Halbert gives for this is that it's a story that people are interested in. They connect with, well, what's going on there? I agree also with the ego part of it. If it's, like it's yummy, luxurious place, then it's going to hit too.
You may not be able to afford to go there, but you could afford a robe.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, you can pretend. Exactly. Well, you guys are pretty good. So you have the barometer of headlines. You're pretty good. That's fantastic. It's going to make it a little easier. Yay.
Hey, Lori.
Yes.
Couldn't you go somewhere, wear your robe or have your product, and then just see it, and then you could make that claim. You could say, "We first saw these on the steps of the White House." When your friend is holding the pillow in their hand on the steps of the White House, they say, "We even saw these being used at the White House."
And you probably don't know who Gary Halbert is, but that's probably exactly what he did. He probably just held it up by a picture and said, "Look." Sorry, Gary, I love you. That's funny. All right, headline templates. We went through these briefly before when I was showing you how to do the opening, the scannability, offer, body. No, the scannability, opening, body, offer, close. SOBOC. How-to headlines, always effective, always a winner. The if-then, where you set up the problem and you're the solution.
Lorrie, are these in the notebook?
They should be. On your little tab where it says headlines. There are also there's a longer checklist in your binders as well of things that you can look at, and a bunch of samples of the top timeless headlines of all time. And most of them are actually really short. You probably notice online, particularly, they're really, really long. Part of that is laziness, honestly, because it's easier to write a long headline than it is a short headline. Lord Byron or Mark Twain, one of those said, if I had more time, I'd write a longer letter. A shorter letter. Was it Mark Twain? Thank you. So it's hard. It takes more effort because you've got to really get their attention with fewer words. The reason online they tend to be longer is they don't have to pay extra printing costs, and because it's just easier for them to crank them out. There are ways you can get away with longer headlines, and sometimes they make sense. When John Carlton was reading his one-legged golfer ad, every single word in there had purpose. But you want to make sure that that's the case. You want to be very judicious with choosing the words in your headlines. Oh, it's already time for chicken headlines. Oh, my goodness. Okay, what I wanted to do was to pass out some of the magazines that you can use as ideas, like first swipe files. Are there more magazines? This is not for me to display. It's for them to page through.
Oh, then yes.
Okay. All right, so just pass out one per for now. And yeah, I'll take questions. Okay.
There seems to be stuff missing in the headline section. Not anything major, but
Okay.
I think that last piece.
The template piece, that's in the copy critique portion. And if it's not, then I will make sure that you get it. The opening is for later. Now, so what your job is going to be to do when you get the magazines, it's only to stimulate your creativity. Guys, there's just, Christina. I just want to tell you exactly what I expect, what's going to help you as well. So I want you to write as many headlines as you can. When I write headlines for my products, I write as many as 100 headlines. And to me, changing a single word in your headline, because it makes such a difference, to me that counts as a brand new headline. It works. There was a study done on, it was a print piece of copy that had a headline that said, "Put music in your life." And they accidentally put the word "puts" with the S at the end, "puts music in your life." Printed them up, sent them out, and they got a much greater response than they expected because it was an active verb, complete accident, but it was just one letter, and it made a huge difference in response. So to me, just putting a comma, changing the configuration of the words, all of that counts. So what I want us to do is to either by hand or on your computer, whatever you prefer, is to start writing as many headlines as you can think of for your product or for your service. And John, do we have Instant Headline Creator on here? How many of you own that software, Instant Headline Creator?
How many of you would like to own it?
Oh, yeah, it isn't Mac friendly. It hates Mac. I'm sorry.
It isn't Mac friendly yet. Well, it depends on the Mac. The new Macs will run PCs.
Is it a soft on the web?
It's not. It's a branded software that it's a Red Hot Copy product, actually. And what it is you enter in. Well, I'll just tell you the little story of it before we get started while you page through the magazines. Again, my husband strikes again because he decided he needed help with a headline about, what year, or is it 2 years ago? About 2 years ago, he wanted help, and I was busy. So rather than wait, he's very impatient if you haven't noticed, he tried to figure out how he is going to be able to write headlines. And he did a search on the web, and he found this really great software program by a guy named Scott Brittner, who has a foundation, and he raises money for deaf children and their families to buy equipment for them. And it's very cool. He has the Brittner Foundation, and he donates money for this software to this foundation. Well, John and he got to talking, and he said, I like your software, but I can see where it could improve a little bit. And they started working together. He made the improvements to the software, and we branded it as the Red Hot Copy software, Red Hot Copy's Instant Headline Creator. This was the first clue that I got that John was trying to hone in on my business.
I believe that's horn in.
Maybe it is. I always mess up my metaphors. But notice the sunglasses and the, I don't, but at any rate, this has been a really cool product for us. And what you do in it, it gets you out of writer's block, which is why, hey, it went away. Which really is honestly what I use it for more than anything else, because it really gets you great ideas. Like if I'm writing e-zine articles and things, and I just need like a snappy headline really fast, I'll use this product, and here's a sample of it. Let's, Linda, can we use you as an example? Okay, you ask 4 questions, you input the answers, and it shoots out dozens of headlines that you can use potentially. Okay, you're on. All right, so Linda, what's your product do in general? What's the general benefit? John, why don't you do this?
Meeting time by 75%.
Cool. Okay, so it cuts. Oh, I shouldn't be having you time.
Exactly. I'm thinking, what is she thinking?
Oh.
First of all, I can't spell.
All right. You're funny. It's okay. It's okay. Cuts meeting time by
75%.
All right. Question number 2 is, how quickly? You just said by 75%.
I can help
expound.
them accomplish it in 15 minutes.
All right, let's just put in 15 minutes. That's cool. Mm-hmm. All right, and what are the expected results of reaching this goal?
They have all this time to do the other things they need to get done.
Cool. I'm just going to put save
Recover time, save time.
And you can, once you get these templates, once they crank them out, you can dress them up. And finally, any steps or tips? This is an optional question. Do you have any steps?
3 steps.
3 steps. In 3 steps.
Can I get the printout of this?
I can save it for you and
Thank you.
email it to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, load.
No, not load. Step 2.
Step 2, create.
Can you open it if you don't have that software?
Yeah, it saves as a text, I believe.
Okay.
But I'll
Cool. All right. How to cut meeting time by 75% in less than 15 minutes. Now, it's okay in less than in. It's not perfect, all right, but it gives you ideas. Who else wants to cut meeting time by 75% in only 15 minutes? Isn't this cool? In 3 steps, cut meeting time by 75%. To women who want to cut meeting time, it's a shame for you not to cut meeting time by 75%. Great New Discovery helps you cut meeting time by 75%. Great New Discovery helps you cut meeting time by 75% in less than 15 minutes. Here's a quick way to cut meeting time by 75%.
Can I jump in for a second?
What?
Can I jump in for a second? I just wanted to also show you that once you get the hang of how this software thinks and works, you will write your headline or fill in those blanks a little differently because you'll know how the algorithm was set up and how it structures. But as she said, you can take any of these and just tweak them around. But you also have across the top, it will reformat the headlines into testimonial style, command style, news style. And I actually had a group of writers. We did an event with Mark Victor Hansen for his writers. And writers were telling me how much they use this to come up with titles for books.
Yeah.
So
It's good for short, pithy things. And these are headlines, the templates it uses are headlines that are classic. They've been used for hundreds of years, the top headlines in the world that have sold the most products. And actually in your binders, you have the list of the template that this program is giving you because some of you Mac people can't get the program. I know, it's so sad.
Also at the bottom, you've got a few icons that you'll see. Emotional triggers, hypnotic words, and great headlines. The great headlines is that same file, but that's another great tool for unblocking writer's block. If you push one of those buttons, it'll bring up that resource, and it's also pretty cool.
So anyway, it's just another tool, and we give 10% of all sales to the Brittner Foundation to help kids with their hearing impaired kids. It is. Thank you. It does pull you out of writer's block. I'm completely addicted to it. All right. So now, with that being said, what I would like, we have more magazines, right? Remember I told you that's like your prime real estate. They're trying to get your attention with those headlines. Those are also good just to get you going. What? It's old?
No. 100 Secrets Men are begging you to read. I want to read
100, yeah, you can't read the articles. Warning, warning. Just the headlines. Just the headlines. So are there any questions about, you're just going to explode headlines out for the next, I don't know how long we'll go until I say till the chicken says stop. I think we'll do 20 minutes and then we will check in and see.